Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another horror review. Well, here I am again, second time today, as I said. Tomorrow, I'm playing Army of Darkness, the role playing game. So it only seemed right that we check out Army of Darkness again. I've lost count number of times to watch this movie, and I'll lose count of the number of times I'll watch it again. But full disclosure, one thing we always talk about is the theatrical cut, which I've never seen. I first saw this movie on VHS. Didn't go to the cinema for it. So thankfully, I have been spared the happy clappy ending that the studio put in. And I never saw the end of this as depressing. Like, how fragile are these people, even back in the 90s? It's very, very strange. This is a straight out comedy. So we'll see. It takes place directly after the events of Evil Dead 2, which I haven't seen in ages, so I'm going to check it out again after this. Why not? Stay with the theme. Better reading up to do as well for tomorrow, but yeah, I'm a bit of a binge tonight, so why not? What we'll have straight after the events of Evil Dead 2, where Ash's hand gets possessed, he's fighting with the Deadites, he cuts off his own hand with a chainsaw, and then he thinks he's won, but then the portal opens up and he gets sucked away. It directly continues on off that, so essentially he gets dropped in medieval England. So it doesn't just cross time, but it crosses continents as well. So, like a random wormhole, you don't know where you're going to end up. So, gets dropped there, immediately gets captured. There's a war going on between Sir Arthur and is he Duke Henry? Yeah. The Red. Weird. It's almost playing on Arthurian legend, but it's loosely, because the wise man, oh god, is Merlin. Just it's all played on things. Because I was about to say Gandalf, I nearly had to slap myself. I was playing on, the alchemist, the wise man, who's this prophecy of the foretold one. And this is the change in Ash as well, because even in Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, he's still a positive guy. He's a positive guy who's kind of been thrown into this, madness. But by the time he gets, thrown into the portal, and the second time, he is done. His character is just, he's had enough. He's had enough of people. He's had enough of the Deadites. He's had enough of the Necronomicon. He's just like, screw this. I just want to be left alone and be out. But him, the Oldsmobile, the car crashes down and he's captured in. We see him getting led away in stocks with other prisoners. And they're taken to a medieval castle in the middle of the desert. Very strange setting, but there you go. And of course, the good people, in the war, they're keeping Deadites in a pit and they're throwing their enemies into them. So that's a bit brutal, but everyone's like all cheering and stuff. It's all done like over the top, fantastical, in your face, horror comedy, which is all cool and we love it. Ash, of course, he gets thrown in. He's encountered Deadites like multiple times at this point. He's just straight in there, just fighting them. The wise man gives him his weapons back, so he instantly has the advantage and dispatches him. And then that's it. He climbs out of the pit. He's just like, I've had enough of you. He's, done. And that's where we get the old classic line of, this is my boomstick. Arthur in this is a complete tosser, just an arrogant, whiny prat. But the thing about this is, right, we're seeing characters not in their best light, but they're redeemable. And that's kind of the overarching, positive message in all this. Because Ash is just done and he just wants to get home. He wants to be finished. He's self-centered. Arthur is an arrogant. Henry's decent, actually. He just react. He got drawn into a war he didn't want to be in, but so be it. Yeah, and then we just go on. It's with a film, like it just rapidly progresses. Like there's no hanging about in this movie, which is cool. it's pretty decently paced. You don't get too much exposition and arsed about in like cerebral time. More or less, from Ash, he crawls out of the pit after dispatching the Deadites. And then he's treated like a hero. Then he makes a bargain. Okay, if I get you the Necronomicon, you can use it to send me home. That's the bargain. Okay. Races out to get it. And then that's where the whole windmill scene. This movie's like years old. You know what I mean? If you haven't seen it, I advise you to. It's one of the classics, one of the ones that'll stand the test of time. Even the effects and all they're not dated because it's just done in hammy cheesiness. And for some reason, when you do practical effects like that, they don't age. It's funny. I don't know what it is, but when it's done in a comedic fashion, you tend to have a lot of forgiveness. I watched the original Omen there, and it was very dated. But it's a movie trying to take itself, it's a movie taking itself seriously. I need to look into that, how that is possible, because like even the creature effects, they still look good. Where yourself, you see some effects and you watch them a year later and flipping, oh my god, that's awful. This stuff's actually still pretty decent. There's something about that graininess with the animatronics and the backdrops, because that's the biggest thing with effects. If you notice when something's done against a backdrop, and it can like look really good or really awful, and when you see something just looks off against the background, especially when things are flying or jumping around. And don't forget you have skeletons. You've got walking skeletons here. It was actually taken, if I remember rightly, in an interview, Sam Raimi, he had taken inspiration from Jason and the Argonauts. Now that film is donkeys years old, and that's still a bloody cool scene where he sews the dragon's teeth into the ground, and it's a trick because it raises the warriors. No fancy movie, but even as a kid, I remember that scene being like terrifying, like whoa. Now there's something when you see that against the backdrop. Now there's something that looks disturbing. So when you look at those skeletons now, they look fake against the backdrop, especially when you got Jason climbing up the steps and kicking at them. They're not in the same space, if that makes sense. And your eyes can tell that. And I think the way this movie's done, you can suspend disbelief and you don't see that horribleness. I think it's because they're using animatronics and actual physicality as opposed to camera trickery. But we've actually got hand-to-hand combat with skeletons, deadites, soldiers, and it all looks good. But anyway, you've got Ash. He goes to he stops off at a windmill because he's told to go to the graveyard. That's what Necronomicon is. Nobody else can get near it, but he's the chosen one. He can. And I think this is one of the funniest horror. I can't think of another one that's funnier in terms of horror comedy, and that's when Ash is in the windmill and he's actually fighting himself. So we get the classic Deadite, the free-form camera move, that made Raimi famous. That's playing at it, but then he's in the windmill. He's busy battening down for the night, and he smashes a mirror, and then the mirror shows him, split out into multifaceted, and then you see those small versions of him come to life. And I think it's his physicality. Now, it wasn't Bruce Campbell playing all the mini versions of himself. I think there was about 3 actors, as well as Bruce playing himself in it, but there was different actors playing the mini hymns. But that whole scene, and the slapstick comedy, they bring the slapstick comedy into it, and that's what makes one of the funniest sequences in horror. That whole combat between him and the mini versions of him, and then when the full set, basically one of them jumps down his throat and turns into a full size version of himself. It's just madness, and it's fun, and the kind of Bruce Campbell's one of them hidden gems that maybe it's better he didn't get didn't get a massive Hollywood career and become an A-lister, because he's a witty sense of humor, and he's made his uh, career in conventions and actually roasting his fans, and he plays like a typical sardonic, character, just full of sarcasm, and as if, yeah, you're an ass, But everyone knows that he's actually one of the genuine down to earth ones, because he'll engage with the fans, where a lot of people stick their nose up in the air and they think they're better than their customers. So I'm glad that he didn't fall into the A-list side of Hollywood, but he's got a longevity that he will be remembered long after a lot of these superstars are forgotten about, and that I'm really glad. And this movie shows why. Sorry, I'm going round about to get to the point, but the physicality he puts into the roles, the self-depreciation, the quirkiness, and the fact that he plays somebody dumb, and not afraid to be the butt of a joke, that takes a lot of talent, and that's what makes this movie enjoyable. It's definitely one of his best performances. He definitely slips into a comfortable suit when he plays Ash Williams, and we saw it again in the Ash versus Evil Dead series. He just slips that suit on, and that's him. I think there's going to be. Do you know what we'll have to do? We'll have to do Bubba Hotep sometime. I think there's like a 4K version coming out soon. I need to keep my eye on. We need to talk about that movie, because that is gem as well, and it's Bruce Campbell playing a completely different character, but does it so wonderfully. But yeah, we then get Evil Ash. We get the other version of him, and Good Ash deals with him quickly, and it's at that "you're goody two shoes," and it's very sort of stuff. But that just adds to the bonkerness of this, the madness of this whole series. It's not meant to take itself too seriously. You're meant to go away with a chuckle and a bit of a at the same time, which is horror comedy down to a T. So he dispatches Evil Ash, buries him, and then he goes to get the Necronomicon, and that's the classic Klaatu Barada, he'd forgotten the word Nick and just does it, and then that sets a whole series of events. Evil Ash gets resurrected, the Deadites effectively take control of the cemetery. They start coming to life, form an actual army. And this is different from zombie movies, because you've actually got demons. Demons have always been more interesting to me than zombies, because they're thinking beings and they have purpose. So when you get demons possessing bodies, and even if they're down to the skeletal remains, it's good. It's fun to play with and watch, because you're actually seeing characters as opposed to like plot pieces moving about. And what we'll have here then is that all coming to fruition. Now Ash goes back to the castle with the book, and he's healed a hero, and he's not in the mood, and talks about the deal, but then because he didn't recite the exact words, he's told, look, stay and fight. He's like, no, I've had enough. And then him and Sheila get it on. And yeah, that give me some sugar, baby. Like that was just a preempted line. He just called out in the spot. It's great to see the relationship. When you've got a relationship between an actor and a director and a team, it kind of comes across on screen, if that makes sense. There's a trust there, there's a bond, and when all parties have the desire to make a good movie, it really comes across on screen. We've seen it now with the superstar. I think that's why another reason why the superstar is dead. The idea of you go to a movie theater now to see a star, that's gone, because when you see the DVS-esque activities, and when you see people's egos, and they're all working against each other instead of towards, who wants to be part of something that fails? I've never understood that. Oh, I got paid. I don't care if it's a piece of shit. If you're putting your time and effort into something, you want it to work. And I don't get when that doesn't happen. You're better not being part of a project if your heart's not in it. And that includes work as well. There's got to be an aspect of a job that you're dedicated to, or else you're spending hours a day, a good chunk of your life, being miserable and actually working against yourself. Now, in an ideal world, we'll all be in the right place. We'll all be doing what we love, but it's not an ideal world. So we've got to make the best of what we have and find that part that makes, get you to get up in the morning and do your best. And you see it in this movie. With comedy especially, it can go so wrong. You have to be committed. And if you're not, how many comedies and horror comedies and stuff have just fallen flat because the people involved just aren't invested. But yeah, you see this. Ash is like, I don't want to fight anymore. Nah, I just want to go home. Everyone's pissed off, and then one of the flying deadites. In fact, it was only one. I'm surprised there wasn't like a whole bunch of them. Must have been an effects thing, but that's what I'm talking about, the effects against the backdrop. So they had one flying deadite. It still kidnaps Sheila. And then that's what flips Sash around to like, no, we're fighting these. I've had enough of running and standing and fighting, because he realizes, I think, that this is never going to go away. And yeah, so they all start, that's when they start the preparations. To know that the scouts bring word of an army, 2 days march. He gets the car brought back, which he has a chemistry book and an engineering book in the back, because as you do, I can't say a word, do I? Collect random books and stuff and read random things, which I'm never going to become an expert at, but it's interesting to have a look at some things and how they work. But yeah, that's all that sort of fun. I was unimpressed the number of rounds he had, and he never carries shotgun shells on him, but he has enough to rack up his boomstick most of the times. Yeah, it was always fun to work that out. Plus, it's supposed to be double barreled, yet he fires it as if it's pump action. But there you go. That's you suspend disbelief and you let those things go. Well, it just becomes an action movie then after that, because it's essentially the army's gathering, the Deadites, and they're lockstep. They're not just a rambling mob, they're an actual marching army with bandsmen, people playing the fifes and drums and bagpipes, and they're all geared up for battle. Evil Ash turns Sheila evil as well and gets her, she's still angry with the good Ash, so she uses that, and then she becomes like the queen. Really good character. Who was that? Ambeth Davids? Plays Sheila. Yeah, good actress. Played a great role. Can't argue. She played both sides of the character brilliantly. A lot of fun. But yeah, and then it all just comes to a conclusion. They all fight, and then it's Henry the Red comes in to save the day at the end. They're expecting him. Or they'd sent out envoys to ask him to fight. And he comes in at the end, and they finally defeat Evil Ash. And yeah, all comes to a conclusion. Like I said, this is actually quite a fast-paced movie. There's no hanging about. Lots of physicality in it. And there's no... there's a few downtime moments, but there's always something happening, and it doesn't hang about. So it's you're not getting bored. You're not getting this day and age of 2-hour movies plus of just stringing things out. And we talked about Terrifier 2, where that could have been such a tight, wonderful movie, but because they felt like they had to string it out a bit, I don't know, it became actually tiring to watch. This, you've watched it, it's over and done with, and you don't feel like you've been cheated or missed out. If you've got a good movie and it's less than an hour and a half long, so be it. As long as it's a good movie and you've enjoyed yourself, I don't see the problem. When a movie needs to be longer, let it be longer. But this whole thing of people not being able to edit anymore, it's a bit disappointing. But yeah, This bit, comes to the end. Defeat the Deadites in battle, celebrate, and then that's where it comes to fulfilling their part of the bargain. They create a sleeping potion. Now, I don't know why he created a full bottle of sleeping potion when he only had to take 6 drops, where he should have just produced 6 drops worth and give it to him, but hey ho. They put him into a cave. He uses dynamite. He closes the cave down. And then there's the bit where apparently the studio thought was too depressing, which I don't get. But anyway, he's taking the 6 drops. Some of the rocks fall down. He looks away, and then he counts an extra drop, so he takes 7 instead of 6. And each drop makes him sleep for a century. He crawls out, after he wakes up, he crawls out of the cave, and he's 100 odd years in the future, and it's like a wasteland. But it wasn't like horrible. It was, it was like goofy. Everything's gone to pot. You see Big Ben, or sorry, the Elizabeth Tower. I always had to remind people that Big Ben's the bell. It's the Elizabeth Tower. It's a clock. There you go. Some fun trivia for you. So you see the Elizabeth Tower just stuck in there, and so he's essentially like crawled out where London is now. It's like, oh no, I slept too long. No, why? That kind of stuff. But to me, that was setting up for a sequel. That was setting up for what the hell happened, and can he undo it? I don't get why the studio executives thought that was a depressing ending. It was not depressed about it. Like, oh, right, okay, we're going to get another story. Once again, normies not understanding horror fans, I think. I've never seen a theatrical ending, and I don't want to. No interest in it. Don't see the point. I'm happy. This is the only version I've ever watched. I first watched it in VHS. I have no desire to see the clipped down, scrubbed up version, if that makes sense, even if it's only like the bit at the end. Why would you? How weak are people? Like, if you can't handle material, if you know it's in the horror genre and you're not going to be comfortable, don't watch it. Go away. And if you really, if you want to dip your toes into something, well, use channels like this, get a review, watch. If you've got people that give non-spoiler reviews, for example, go and check out one of them first, and then decide if you can watch, or even do a spoiler review so you know exactly what's going to happen, then watch the movie. This fragile, offended and disturbed by everything, so therefore I must impose my will on everybody else, is really starting to grate in my nerves. I'm becoming the grumpy old man. And that's why movies like this cheer me up, because I need a bit of that. I'm sick and tired of this nonsense in the world, and just people who I don't even know if they genuinely are upset, or they're just fake, be fake upset just to get attention. It's quite sad, and it's easy to get attention these days as well. Sorry, I'm going off on a wee bit of a tangent because I'm just wrapping up. But if you want to get attention, you can get attention anyway. You can do it in a positive aspect. Stick yourself on camera, make videos, talk about stuff, go and make friends, do something. There's loads of things you can do if you want attention. I don't get why people think that's a good way to do it. But hey ho, who am I at the end of the day? I'm just a bloke that talks about movies and reads out a few things from time to time. No expert in anything. I'm just I like what I like, and like giving my opinions and things. But there you go. That's my review. Short and normal. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. If you've seen Army of Darkness, which I'm pretty sure most people that are in the horror have, let me know what was your favorite part. Has anybody watched this and didn't like it? It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on that. If you didn't enjoy this movie, especially because it was the third in the series, why? What put you off? As usual, be respectful, of course. We can have discourse, talk about things, but we don't have to, come to blows out of it. Like, life's too short. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Keep up to date with the channel. Tomorrow, as I said, I'm on Adam's Evil Live channel playing Army of Darkness, a role-playing game. So looking forward to that. We're starting to do interviews again. There's some folks come up wanting to chat about their projects, so we'll have them on the show too coming up. And we look for a busy month in March as well as finishing off February here. So Keep up to date with the channel, do the typey clicky things, and until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.